In today's lesson in our unit Environmental Impact, we are previewing a strategy we will use throughout the unit. In order to use this strategy, we first need to understand the different steps. This strategy is called the SOCC strategy or SOC strategy. We will use this later on in our unit and possibly in other units as well. Today we're just going to introduce ourselves. The first step in the SOC strategy is source. We need to use available citation information, which sometimes means looking below a photo or looking at who the author was, to infer something about who, what, when, or where it's represented in the primary source. We also want to think about why someone created this primary source. If you think back to our Buxton unit, we did something like this with our first image on Center Street. We asked what we could see in the source, the image, and why someone wanted to create it. This is similar to this step here. The next step is to observe. When we observe, we look closely at something. So the question here is, what do you see in the primary source? You want to look for all the details you can find, even if you don't think it's important right away. It may end up being something important later. So we want to look for those details and really understand what is happening within our source of information, whether that be an article, a book, a video, or a picture. The third step is to contextualize. This is where you will use your prior knowledge and the author's clues to infer what the primary source indicates. This is a time where sometimes the author or the publisher, creator, doesn't always give us all the details we need to really understand what's going on. So we need to use what they are able to give us and what we already know or what we can find out about that time or that event, and put those pieces together to really understand what the source is trying to help us with. The fourth step is to corroborate. This is a step where we will generate questions and use other sources to research and find evidence related to our primary source or our first source. This is a time where we might look up on a different website and see if we find similar or same information. If we do, we know that our primary source is giving us accurate information. If we don't find the same information, or especially if we find different information, then we need to ask ourselves if our original source was something good to have in the first place. In our next lesson, we'll be talking about different perspectives to take as we ask these questions.